Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't know how it feels like. You see that announcement trailer, the music hits, the characters look incredible, and just for a second, just 1 second, you think, this is the one, this is the game. Then gameplay drops. And there it is, a battle pass, daily bounties, a rotation shop, premium currency, a season roadmap straight on 18 months into the future. And somehow in the back of your head, that little voice goes, I've seen this before. Because you have, we all have. And yet somehow, someway, those companies keep doing it, over and over and over again. And most insane part, they keep being shocked when it fails. So today we want to talk about the live service games. Not just what they are, but what they actually did to the industry. Why studio after studio has walked straight into this meat grinder with a smile on their face. And why, despite everything, there might actually be light at the end of this tunnel. Players have been pushing back, and it's starting to work. Let's get into it. Let's be real about how we got there, because it didn't happen overnight. Back in the early 2000s, model was simple. A studio made a game, you paid for it, you played it, they went and made another one. That was the whole deal. And for the most part, it worked. You had a studio like a Rocksteady making Batman Arkham Asylum a complete, finished, polished game. No updates, no seasons, no battle pass, just a masterpiece sitting there waiting for you to play it. But then something happened. Executives started doing math, and what they figured out is that one-time sale has a ceiling. There is only so much money you can make from a $60 game. But a game that keeps players engaged forever, the game that sells cosmetic, battle pass, expansions, premium currencies, limited time bundles, that ceiling doesn't exist. That machine just keeps printing. The blueprint was Destiny. The Bungie built the entire ecosystem around retention. You didn't just play the Destiny, you lived in it. Seasonal content, exotic weapon grinds, raids that require 6 people, and 4 hours of your weekend. It's designed from the ground up to occupy as much of your time as humanly possible. And then came Fortnite, and that changed everything. Because Epic didn't just make a successful live service game, they made that one was free. They showed every single publisher on the planet that you didn't need to charge upfront at all. You just needed to get players in the door. Once they were in, you figured out how to get their money later, and it worked so well that by 2018, every CEO in gaming had lost their mind. Rocksteady live service, Crystal Dynamics live service, BioWare, Anthem. Need I say more? Everyone thought they could build the next Fortnite. Nobody stopped to ask why Fortnite worked. They just saw the numbers, 40 billion, 42 billion, and they went chasing it like it was the finish line instead of a cliff. If you want to understand everything wrong with how publishers think about a live service, you don't need a textbook. You just need to look at the Marvel's Avengers. On a paper, I mean this sincerely, on a paper, it was impossible to mess up. You have the biggest IP on the planet. You have the Crystal Dynamics, the studio that built the modern Tomb Raider franchise. You have Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk. You have the Marvel at the highest of its cultural dominance after Endgame. This should have been a slum dunk. This should have been the easiest win in gaming history. Instead, what we got was one of the most spectacular failures industry ever seen. And here's the thing, the gameplay wasn't even the deepest the problem. The controls were fine, the combat had some interesting ideas, but every single design decision in that game was built around extraction instead of experience. Every cool suit behind a paywall, mission copy-pasted corridors that you run over and over chasing gears and numbers that didn't even charge how your character looked. They took entire fantasy to be an Avenger and put it inside a spreadsheet. And players could feel it. The moment you boot up that game, something is off. Something about a structure, design, whole skeleton of it just pointing the wrong direction. It's not asking how to make people feel like a superhero. It's asking how do we keep players logging in tomorrow. Those are completely different questions, and they lead to completely different games. The server shut down, the game got pulled from the stores, the hundreds of millions of the dollars gone. And saddest part, none of that had to happen. Crystal Dynamics had the talent. They clearly had the passion. But when the publisher hands you a mandate that says make it live service, make it like a Destiny, the creative vision gets crushed under the weight of the business model. Developers didn't fail, the system failed them. That's a thing that nobody wants to talk about. Talented people making those games aren't a problem. It's a layer above them. The executives running the revenue projects in PowerPoint while the actual developers trying to make something people will remember. Let me say that name again, Rocksteady. Those are the people who made Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, the games so good that they didn't just define superhero games, they defined what good game could look like at all. They made Batman who felt like a Batman, heavy, methodical, dangerous, gained that respect as a player. And when Warner Bros. Look at those guys that studio with legacy, with trust from the players, and say, make us a live service shooter. 9 years later, we got Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. A game where you shoot purple aliens over and over, collect the loot, repeat. The game where Batman, the one these same people made iconic, is a boss fight you delayed in cutscene. A game that looked everything players loved about Rocksteady and replaced the looter-shooter loop that nobody asked for. The result was financial catastrophe, hundreds of the millions of the dollars. And what's the worst, genuinely painful about this, is that everyone saw it coming. Every developer blog post, every preview, every piece of the marketing set up the alarm bells. The players told them, the press told them, the internet was screaming. They shipped it anyway, because you have already committed that budget, already told your shareholders the roadmap, already hired the team for 5 years of the post-launch content. You can't turn back. The machine just keeps going, even when the wheels are falling off. Here's the thing nobody talks about honestly enough. Live service game doesn't just cost money, they cost time, and the time is the only thing nobody can give you back. Those games are engineered deliberately, scientifically engineered around FOMO, fear of the missing out. Battle Pass expires, the limited time event ends tonight. If you don't log in every day, your weekly challenges reset and you fall behind on the season track. What that creates is the game that starts with like a job. You come home after 8 hours of actual work and you now have to grind your dailies in Call of Duty, or your weekly bounties in Destiny, or even quests in a weather live service demanding your attention this week. And somewhere along the way, the game stopped being something you did to relax and started being something you did to keep up. That's not an accident, that's a design. And players are exhausted. You can only have so many things competing for your attention before you start making choice. The choice players are making is to step back from those games entirely. Not because they're hating the gaming, but because they're tired of being managed by their entertainment. The market got saturated. Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Genshin Impact, Destiny, Valorant, every single of those games wants all of your time. And when everything demands everything, something has to break. What broke was the trust. So, is this just doom and gloom? Is there any good news? Yeah, actually there is. Because in the middle of all wreckage, the game came out and completely humiliated the entire live service model by doing exact opposite. Helldivers 2, Arrowhead showed up with a live service game that didn't feel it like hated the players. The premium currency you could earn in the game, the story written with the community in real time. Major orders that made players feel like they were actually part of something. It was chaotic, funny, and generally surprising week to week. Players weren't logging in because they had to. They were logging in because they want to, because the developers made them feel like the partners instead of the revenue targets. That sounds like a low bar, but apparently for most of this industry, it is not. The success of the Helldivers 2 sent a message to every executive in the industry. Louder than any earning reports, louder than any market analysis, players will pay for quality athlete. Problem was never the people didn't want to spend money. The problem was they were being asked to spend money on nothing. Here's where I'll be honest with you. I don't know if the industry has actually learned anything yet. The evidence is mixed. On one hand, you're seeing real consequences. Sony quietly cancelled over dozens of live service projects. Bungie went through a catastrophic layoffs because of the Destiny couldn't sustain the empire they built in around it. Concord launched and died in 2 weeks. Suicide Squad is gone. Avengers is gone. The executives are starting to feel the floor shaking under their feet. On the other hand, the people making those decisions are still largely the same people. The incentive structures haven't changed. The publicly traded companies still need the line to go up to every quarter. And the temptation to chase that Fortnite money is still there, just hiding behind better marketing now. What has changed is the players, and that matters more than anything else. Because right now you've got Eastern Studios, Prelibis, Shift Up, miHoYo from Software, coming in the marketing games that are confident, focused, and built for the people who actually want to play games. Crimson Desert just sold in 4 million in 12 days. Elden Ring permanently shifted what open world RPGs are expected to feel like. Those games aren't built around rotation metrics, they're built around wanting to be played. And the difference is obvious the second you pick up the controller. And the one who don't wake up to that going to find themselves exactly where the Ubisoft is right now. Swimming in the franchise that nobody is excited about anymore. Releasing games to diminishing returns. Confused about why their audience keeps getting smaller. Look, live service gaming didn't fail because it was a bad idea. It failed because industry treated it like cheat code instead of commit. When it works, when developers actually respect the players, delivers real content, build a community instead of milking one, it can be genuinely great. Helldivers 2 proved that. Path of Exile proved that. Hell, early Destiny proved that. But you cannot shortcut the way to do that. You cannot hire consultants to simulate the passion. You cannot run a monetization framework through a focus group to expect players to feel like care about them. Because they will know. They always know. We're not wallets. We're not engagement metrics. We're the people who have been playing games for whole lives. who grew up with those things, who remember what it felt like when a game grabbed you and didn't let you go. And when we find a game that still makes us feel that way, we go absolutely frail for it. We talk about it years where it come out with everyone we know. We buy the collector's edition and the art book and the soundtrack. That's the audience that exists. That's a player base that's sitting here waiting. The only question is whether the people running in this industry are smart enough to stop treating like problem to be solved and start treating like the reason the whole thing exists in the first place. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.